Da-da-da! What's my good chair? Welcome, everybody. Let's give YouTube a couple of minutes. Get those notifications out. In the meantime, if you've never popped into one of my lives before, hi, I'm Cindy. I explore the inside and the outside. And here on this live show, one of two of my live shows, this is a daily Monday to Friday live show. And for the past 6 months, we have been picking randomly a powerful word, an impactful word. And we have been working on that word all week. And it has been a process for me, right? It has been a big learning curve for me. I have been picking these impactful words that I've come across in my travels, in, I don't know, this experience that I have been in learning and kind of learning. Is it learning? Is it really learning? Or is it discovering, those lessons that I was missing in the creation of the best human being that I possibly could be, right? I have been very naive in my living, right? I have been lacking in a lot of lessons that I think that have come across, if it had come across my path, I might have much earlier in my life picked up on some of these lessons and maybe possibly moved myself a little bit further. Who am I to question when the lessons come across my path? But be grateful in the moment when they do, right? I'm just grateful to have this opportunity to do a little bit of course correction, not just for myself, but possibly for my own family. Hello, Andrew. How are you tonight? I caught you right before you were heading off to bed. I'm assuming it is almost 10 o'clock here, Winnipeg. Today I had an interesting experience. Mondays, quite often, me and my sister, we like to go thrifting. We like to go to the thrift stores or estate sales. Sometimes we go to antique stores. Um, it's a lot of fun. It's nothing better than finding a score that didn't cost us very much and turn it into a little bit of extra money. And my sister, she phones me and she says, we're going to do one store. We ended up doing 3 stores, but we're going to do one store. And we went and thrifted at the store. We usually spend about 45 minutes to an hour in the store. We go through it thoroughly. She's expert in what she likes. I like to think I'm an expert in what I like. I like housewares. I like china. I like the ornaments. I like the antiques. My sister loves jewelry. And she has the last say because in the end, she is the expert overall when it comes to antiques and collectibles. She actually supported her entire family for over 20 years. She contributed quite well to supporting that household of hers. And now, right, her kids have flown the nest. She's on her own. She supports herself, but she still loves the thrill of the search. And today we did really, really well, I think, right? Just the two of us. We were only out for maybe, I don't know, we were probably out for about 3 or 4 hours for sure, at least today. But in that 3 or 4 hours, we might have done $1,000 in profit. So that's pretty exciting. It was a pretty good day. Uh, for myself, I found um, it's called Tommy the Train. It's a musical box. And it's a very rare one. So we might get $300 or $400 for that one. My sister found perfume, antique, old perfume. And yeah, almost $500. She listed it already. Perfume, $500. Like, oh my goodness. And we did that in 4 hours. There were a few other things. My fan just finally came on. Just gonna turn it off here. Um, we were only out for a few hours, and there were a few other things that we picked up along the way, but it was an outing for some fresh air. And like I said, me and my sister, we go off on Mondays and we do thrifting, and we both truly love it. And it started off on a good note. Usually, if my sister is cranky or not feeling well, the day doesn't normally go really amazing. But she showed up at my door today with a cup of coffee, and I had a big bag of things that she could list, and yeah, she was super in a good mood. I could tell she was in a very good mood, and I think right on her days off she got a little trapped in her house, and I do it too. I feel right when I don't get out of the house. Wednesdays is my day where I try to get out and go for a walk and get some fresh air. I don't know how it's going to go this week. I live in Winnipeg, Manitoba. It's the middle of February. We should be in the definitely in the minus 30s, minus 40s with the wind chills. And yet, you guys, we're expecting rain tomorrow. I'm shocked. And it's not like a chance of rain. It's 90%. 90% chance that it's going to be raining, which means well, the snow is probably going to be gone because we don't have a lot of snow, but there will be puddles. And tomorrow is the last warm day before we start cooling off again. And right, we're probably going to look at car accidents and people having accidents on the sidewalks, right? Because even though our city is really great at clearing the snow, in the middle of February, there isn't really much expectations that people are going to be having icy sidewalks. So I'm not sure what, if any, kind of not precautions, because it's going to be after the fact, because people will have their slip and falls, but maybe how quickly they can get those crews onto the sidewalks. I know we don't here in Winnipeg, we just don't have road crews. We do have sidewalk crews. We do have sidewalk crews too. And they're really quick at clearing those sidewalks on the main drags at the very least, and around the schools and stuff for the kids so they can get to school. But with that rain, I suspect, and that quick freeze over the next week, we are going to probably have some issues with ice. We'll see how that goes. I will give my sister a call tomorrow and make sure she's still recovering from her broken hip. So make sure that she understands, like, she doesn't even need to leave the house, right? I have the next few days off. If she needs some groceries or something, I'm planning on going out for a little bit of Mother Nature on Wednesday anyway, and I will play it safe. And I have my Keen boots, great traction, so I feel pretty comfortable and pretty safe in them, right? No guarantees ever, but every little bit that we can do to keep it safe for ourselves, right? That's what we want to do, especially where we're not quite sure of how the weather's going to play us next, right? Because it has been a very strange winter. Like, our winter technically has not even started this year. It hasn't even started. We have broken so many records. Okay, I'm not going to chit-chatting about the weather because I know weather talk uh, bores a lot of people, but I don't think, right, that it should bore lots of people because it is a sign that things are changing, right? They think, oh, we're going back into the ice age. But in all actuality, the world is warming up. It's not cooling off, it's warming. It's warming up. Okay, let me see what Andrew has to say. I have a wonderful paperback copy of the novel Today is Tonight, co-authored by the 1930s actress Jean Harlow and screenwriter Carrie Wilson. I found out it's worth over $200. Oh my goodness, Andrew! Right? That's when you have to shout, score, right? Now, does that give you a little bit of incentive, Andrew, to maybe go through your library? I have this is a funny story. He's a sweet man, but you could tell there's a little bit of trauma going on, and he's very eccentric, but he comes into my store every couple of weeks. He comes into my store and he goes through the books, and he has some amazing books. And because he's not technically inclined, he's about the same age as me, he's not technically inclined. He brought some of his collection for me to take a look at. Andrew, I think you probably would have been very, very impressed by his collection. He had like some really, really first editions. He had some signed books that were super rare, that were only sent out for publisher reviews that never made it, but were written by really famous people. And uh, and he started telling me all about his wife passing away, and he doesn't know what to do with his time. He doesn't know what to do with his money, and next thing you know, he's pulling out his phone, you guys. Now, this is a little bit of a lesson for everybody because there are people out there who would take advantage of people knowing that they had money. And this gentleman showed me his bank account, and he was a millionaire, right? And it's not like I haven't known millionaires. My sister Tracy was up until recently a millionaire herself, right? But she hurt her hip. She's been off work. She's been on insurance, and luckily she's still got good money coming in. But now she's going into divorce, and we know divorce lawyers and settlement and stuff. That's going to be taking its toll on her too. But it is, isn't it? It's time for challenges, and it's up to each one of us to figure out a way to make a little bit of movement to overcome our limitations, because we all have limitations, right? Whether you live in a war zone, or you're impoverished with big families, or you're homeless, or there's so many things, right? Emotionally, mentally, right? Psychologically, I guess psychologically and mentally are the same thing, but economically, right? Socially, oh my goodness, right? Okay, you guys, my day off is done. I got my bathtub soaking right now. I got a fresh cup of coffee, a big, you can see I'm using one of my big cups. So I'm enjoying a big fresh cup of coffee. But yeah, that's cool, Andrew. $200 book. I have a few books with value in them. I was actually talking to my sister this afternoon, and I do know we're picking another word. I got my book right here, and I got my highlighter right here. We'll just tie this up because it's nice to have the company in here. Um, okay, so let's get back to Andrew's comment. Uh, when he said that it was worth over $200. Unusual winter here. We don't get a lot of snow, but there's been hardly any at all this time around so far. Yeah, it's been a strange one, right? I think all over the world. But it also gives us the heads up, right? Because sometimes we do need to be hit upside the head, right? Not literally, but like that surprise, that impact, that there's no question for us to take note because, right, we don't pay attention. We go, oh, it's nice weather, right? Enjoy the weather, go for a walk, but not really taking a look at that impact of we've had birds here that haven't been able to what do you call that, um when they go with the seasons. It's just a blank to me. It's my end of my day. Forgive me there, but they're not changing and moving south or anything. They're staying here. We've got robins here and all kinds of birds that usually migrate, and this year they didn't. And if we get a really couple of bad cold snaps, they might be in trouble. I love the chickadees though. I love the chickadees. They're right. If I was a bird, right, I love the chickadees. I love that they're in flocks the way they do. I love the way they're always chattering. I love how they always like to go in those low lying bushes on the branches, right? And that you can get up close to them and talk to them. I like feeding them, right? And yeah, I do like the the mother nature, but yeah, that it's going to be, we're right. I'm being optimistic. Spring is only a month away, you guys, right? Not right. It's still pretty cold in March and April, but usually the snow's all gone. It's just chilly, right? Where you're wearing your spring coats and your big hoodies and stuff. But we'll see. We'll see. We just ride it. We pay attention. We adjust, right? We adapt and conquer, right? But pay attention because weather is a little bit crazy. You heard, like, oh my goodness, did you see the lava just going over the infrastructure, just flowing like a river up in Iceland? Absolutely, absolutely, just crazy, right? That was good, but that's the same, like I said, you pay attention, right? And the people in Iceland, they did pay attention, didn't they? Because they've been off those islands, and right, they've been away now for whoa, couple of months anyway, at the very least, right? So they pay attention to what's going on, right? Because now it's really really flowing. Okay. Uh Unusual winter here. Don't get a lot of snow, but there's been hardly any at all this time around so far. To my surprise, some of my ocean liner books have greatly increased in value. I know. You know what, Andrew? I get those, the ladies who used to work the cruise lines. I get their scarves in the store all the time and they sell really, really well. I don't know if they're worth money or not, but those cruise line, the ladies, the hostesses and stuff, where they wore those scarves, and each scar had its own branding, with the colors and stuff. But yeah, if you're interested, I'll put those together and send those out to you too. Um, I learned that someone I worked with at the Red Cross, a retired teacher, was actually very rich. The amount may have been over 100 million. Really? Oh, well, that's much higher than the people that I know, Andrew. 100 million. Wow. Can you imagine? Can you imagine how much good you can do for yourself? Not just yourself, but how much good you could do for others. I would be doing school programs 100%. I will also be contributing to the restoration and the renovation of any and all Carnegie libraries, right? For sure. Right? That takes lots and lots of money, right? lots of money. And I guess these days, especially in the groups that I hang out with the entrepreneurs and stuff, that they say money is so easy to make these days. And I see all different ways that they're making money online, right? And even though my brand is monetized, I did that through the process, which was part of the learning and the training, right? And the growth in that, because I grew along the way, didn't I? I grew along the way. So yeah, my monetization, I actually, if give me 1 second here, I'll show you guys. My channel got monetized within 6 months of starting my channel. I'm sure they do something a little bit different now, but they sent me this card. They said this is actually a card and congratulating me for being included in the AdSense program and stuff. So yeah, it was so special for me. And lots of people, they work really, really, really hard and don't even achieve monetizing their channels, right? Because you have to have like 1,000 subscribers and certain amount of hours of time watched and certain amount of videos posted, and right, it is a process. But you know what? This is on my shelf right here, and it inspires me, right? And it reminds me that even though I'm just gonna stuff that up there right again, um, even though I'm doing this pretty much on my own, I'm searching out my lessons, and I'm right. I'm whenever I can afford to, right? I make that movement and I go to a seminar or go to a workshop, right? I work, I have a job that puts a roof over my head. But just like anybody else, when you go to university, I don't know in the States, but here in Canada, right? You have a part time job. You work at McDonald's, you work at Tim Hortons, you take part time work and you work your way through school, unless you have parents with $100 million, right? But right, each one of us has to contribute equally to our dreams and to our goals, as much as we contribute to that survival, right? That roof that puts the roof over our heads, or that milk that we put on the kids' cereal, right? Okay, you guys, let's do first impressions today. We're going to pick a new word. We're going to talk about that word all week. The first time I pick that word, I usually just go with the first thing that comes to my mind, and we fly with that. And sometimes it works. I don't know if it doesn't, but if it doesn't, it doesn't. If it resonates, amazing, right? But these lessons, these powerful words have not failed to impact me. And, I'm putting a deck together, right, of powerful words. And they are powerful words because they have been powerful lessons that, a lot of those lessons that I thought, ooh, I got those down packed, when in all reality, I had no clue. But having a whole week, because first impressions today, after my live show, I'll probably go in, right? Check out a few of my favorite thought leaders, see what they think on the topic. I know that once YouTube, Google know that I'm on it, they'll be suggesting to me. And I'll also have my own experiences in my own lifetime to be able to, because I know, right, that a lot of these lessons, because I was taught that your purpose comes from your pain, right? And those pains are in the experiences 100%. Okay, you guys, we are picking a new word this week. A new word, and our new word this week is... Are you kidding me? Did we have this word before? I think today, you guys, we're back into it, and I'm okay doing this word again all week. Yeah, I think we'll do this word all week. So this word is our 16th word, and we're going to go into repeat. We're going into repeat, and lots of times I suspect that if I pick this word again, there's a reason that we picked this word, and the word that we picked is forgiveness. And when it comes to forgiveness, it's a necessity in unloading a lot of the burden, a lot of the guilt, and a lot of the shame. And when I look at this word forgiveness, forgiveness is a release. For me, it's just a shedding. It's a realization of what we didn't get right, or what somebody else didn't get right, and a lesson and an experience in, if it happened again, right, what we could do to make it a little bit better. We covered this word on the 16th week. So 3 weeks in of picking these words, we got this word forgiveness. We're not going to make this word our 28th word. This is going to stay our 16th word, but it's going to be compounded. It was a doozy for me, so I'm not surprised that it's being divvied out to us again, this word forgiveness. And it is something that I struggle with, right? Because I'm changing. I'm moving, and I'm living my own life, right? To the way that I would like to live it, in a vision of what I could create. And then I want to move towards that, right? We were talking yesterday on my live show, Chatters Live, a little bit about my trip and how I committed, and I've decided that this year we're going to go to Utah and we're going to go to Arizona. I found a cup today. One of the things I purchased today was an Arizona coffee cup. It was sitting on the shelf. I committed, right? I actually just committed yesterday to the trip. It'd been floating around in my mind and stuff, but you know, we are close to being able already to financially manage the trip. So, what I need to do is to actually get in there and plan, take a look at the different campsites, and take a look at the different mines that I want to go visit, because we're rock hounding. We're going for the crystals, you guys. I picked these. And not only that, the most incredible thing that I found out this morning, was it this morning? Yes, it was this morning. I'm going to the Grand Canyon. I'm driving right on the highway, right alongside the Grand Canyon. And on top of that, the Grand Canyon has 2 campsites in their national park. So I'm pretty excited about this trip. I'm probably pretty convinced now that as a child I have seen the Grand Canyon with my father. My father was always on road trips, and I could imagine the Grand Canyon would have been one of those trips that he wanted to see, and especially, right, being a compulsive gambler and going to Vegas and Reno at least once a month for as long as I ever knew, that he would have, right, he would have gone by it just like I plan on driving by that. But when I get this word forgiveness, you know, I feel bad because sometimes I feel guilty that I'm creating this life for me, right? And lots of people, this might be pocket change, but I'm creating this, so I'm earning the money, right? I have to um make the itinerary. I have to pay for the camping sites, and and this trip is for me. Every year people say, "Oh, can I come, Cindy? Who are you going with? What are you doing?" Like, and they don't realize that this trip is just for me. I film it, and but that's part of the fun. That's just me, myself, and I just creating, just in our own. Like, I'm not even posting for the most part during that trip, right? And I feel bad because I'm creating the best possible life for myself as I possibly can, right? But the lessons say that I have to grind, I have to work hard, and right? But at the same time, I was smart enough. I don't know if I was smart enough. It just hit me upside the head so many times that I just kind of recognized in this idea that, if I shared my experience, which I was doing all along anyway, but making it more a part of my brand and combining all of that together. And these are lessons that I take in from, right, creators and thought leaders that I trust, and I take lessons in from all different types of characters, but I can't help but resonate with what I resonate with. And, and when I said, when I first started the live, sometimes it's a matter of just recognizing and just releasing all this stuff, right? That you get to really truly see the person that you are, and how you really sometimes, maybe unintentionally, right? Or maybe selfishly, maybe malevolently, right? That we're stopped from living the lives that we were meant to be because we keep adding this stuff that isn't us, right? And that's my own fault, right? It's not my fault from being, highly sensitive and empathic, but it's my fault in the fact that, I recognize that now. And what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do about it? And so there's a certain amount of guilt and shame in that because, right, I'm going to be leaving my family because my I wrapped my whole life around my family. I was the light in that family, even in my own darkness. I was that light in that family, and I've been pulling myself away and creating the best life for myself as I possibly can, in that idea that I'm creating the best human being at the same time. But that guilt and shame comes to the surface, and right, I can't shed that, right? And when you can't shed that, that's right, that's stopping what we're supposed to be doing, because that's what we're supposed to be doing, is peeling off the stuff that isn't us to better reveal who we truly are. Because again, right, my whole life was my family. My whole persona was well, that's not true, because I've always been that person who, right, I was going to be myself, and it was sometimes the detriment to me, right, in being that stubborn, that because my father wanted us, he encouraged us to make our own decisions, right? And there was no backlash in that if we made bad decisions, or there was no recognition or even congratulations when we did those really wonderful movements in our life. So I was thinking, as a first impression, that forgiveness that we don't allow for ourselves, but we so readily give to others, right? in that self-devouring, that self-sabotage, that self-loathing, in all those limiting beliefs. And we're going to start there. We have to start there because that word came back at us. I've missed something in that, or I haven't gone deep enough into that forgiveness, right? Just because we forgive, that doesn't mean we have to tolerate. Sometimes we forgive and we have to move away from that. But how do you move away from yourself when it's you yourself that needs that forgiveness? Yeah, if anybody has an idea on that, yeah, shout out. Okay, you guys, let's see. Um, My Andrew says, my mother loved chickadees. I gave her a brooch that looks like a chickadee and I still have it. Yeah, I absolutely love chickadees. They are no question my favorite birds, right? I just love the chickadees. And they are truly fierce birds too. I hold my hand out, my hand could be covered in chickadees eating seeds out of my hand. But if you hurt one of them, oh my goodness, you're dealing with every chickadee. It'll be like that what was that guy's name? He did the movie Alfred Hitchcock and the Birds. Okay. Andrew says, I'd love to have a fortune to give away, but I can help in little ways here and there with what I have. Oh, and right? And you do, right? I don't say anything, but I know you've been helping Nancy out. I know you have. And I think it's just the sweetest, kindest thing. But I hope you're not leaving yourself short. But when you say that statement right there, that you give what you can, I know that that's exactly what you're doing. That you're not taking away from yourself, right? You're not taking from Peter to pay Paul. Uh, Forgiveness is a good one. I was taught that forgiveness is not an emotion, but an act of will. And I would have to agree with you that, but I think probably people's misconceptions on that one is because it comes along, right? With the forgiveness, it comes along and is attached and brushing up against emotions, isn't it? I know when I was with my mother when she was passing away and we were exchanging that forgiveness, it was a very, very touching, emotional, and at the same time when we talk about the things falling away from us that makes it so things are not so heavy, that's what I'm talking about. Because after I left that room that night, after having that conversation about death with my mother when she was in the hospital, that weight was so light. Like, it was such a big change in my life that I physically recognized it. And that very night, my mother passed away. And somewheres deep inside of me, I knew she was going to pass away very, very soon. Because even the doctors said that she was. They didn't know when it was going to happen. But I remember after having that conversation, there was a big coffee table book on the Middle East that I had taken there to the hospital while we were sitting with her, right? And I would read books and stuff. And I took my book home that night. Not that there was no reason for that, because, right, that was my reading material when I came to visit her. But I knew when I grabbed that book, and I was actually walking out of the room, and I turned around and I walked back and I grabbed that book, right? I grabbed that book and I knew that I was never coming back to that hospital, right? And yeah, my mother passed away. I never saw her again. My sisters, right? They all dealt with the funeral stuff. I did my part as a as a daughter, the best daughter I could be. And but I was there for my sisters, whatever they needed. I wanted to be there for my sisters, and I think I was. But that guilt and shame, when it surfaces now because I remember then, right? I remember how much I loved my sisters and how protective I were, and how devastated I was, not because I was devastated by my mother's death, but I was devastated because my sisters were so devastated by that experience, right? And I was being re-triggered and re-traumatizing because, right, I had to be in the discussion, right? And it went on for a couple of months until the state was all settled. Then again, like I said, that sense of freedom, when we were talking about sense of freedom last week a little bit, right, when my mother passed away. But sometimes you feel guilty that you feel free when your mother passes away, instead of being devastated and not able to function and enthralled into the grief, that you have a sense of freedom. And that's what I had. And I have to forgive myself for that. But not only forgive myself, because it takes two to create those kind of emotions, right? So in having that conversation with my mother when she was passing away and exchanging those forgivenesses, she was forgiving me at the same time, because again, I was stubborn. I was pushing back. I was being my own person to the best of my ability, right? Knowing that there was going to be pushback in that. Ah, Nancy, I remember you were saying you had inspections coming up. It's nice that you popped in. Oh, so if you're having inspections and stuff, then with the government and everything, that doesn't seem like a genuine kind of inspection, because everybody's on high alert, everybody's on their best behavior, everybody is cleaning and fixing and repairing. And right, I hope after the inspection that it's maintained. But yeah, getting everybody to clean house would give a false statement to the government, especially if your building needs a little bit of assistance. I know our apartment building here, we have inspections next week. Right, and especially you in the chair. And I mean, I would not feel super obligated, Nancy, to overextend yourself and put yourself underneath that kind of stress, because the end, all you're doing is showing the property management well. You know what I mean? Making them look good, or making them look good, or helping them to pass their tests, right? Because I'm sure there are health tests and health inspections and stuff, right? I think we got health inspections going on in our building. Plus, I think it's repairs and stuff. And you want to make sure that everything is going on well. Like I said, we have a lot of, what do you call that? Vulnerable in this building. It's a 55 plus building, and there's a lot of vulnerable in this building, right? And a lot of vulnerable that are not taking care of themselves. Ah, I get it, Nancy. Sorry. I 100%. I 100, like, right? 100%. It didn't even cross my mind, and Nancy needs that roof over her head. 100%. Yeah. Oh my goodness. So you still have lots of work to do, Nancy? You still have lots of stuff to do, or is it starting to come together? Starting to come together now? Your inspection's on the 22nd, ours is on the 20th. I haven't even started. I don't know what I have to do, right? I don't know. There's nothing in my cupboards. Everything's been cleaned underneath my I don't know what I have to do. Maybe get some more Rubbermaid containers and pack more stuff in there. We have, you guys, we have a show and tell on Sunday night. If you guys want to come and hang out with us on Chatters Live, my other live show that we do every Sunday night, Nancy and Andrew are part of that crew. They are my moderators over on that channel. It's great conversations. And my show and tells are pretty fun because even I forget all the things that I purchase. I just pay the staff bill and then I bring it all home and we dig through it. You missed Nancy. I was saying earlier that me and my sister we went thrifting today, and we made about $1,000 in some of those things that we found today. We found some antique perfume. We found some really rare musical boxes. I'm trying to think of all the things that we found. We found quite a few things. And Cindy found two more coffee cups. But all those coffee cups, they'll be gone. First garage sale we have, we'll put them out and we'll sell them all. It's time for me to, right? I was using them for my live shows when I was on Instagram. I used a different inspirational cup every single day, right? But I haven't been using those cups. They're all hogging up space in the cupboard, so it's time for those things to go, right? We're not holding on to the past, right? We're moving forward. Oh. Okay, so what is Andrew saying here? Oh, you need to rehome. Oh, yeah, you have a lot of them, right? You have a lot of reborns, Nancy. I don't know how you're going to feel about parting with them, right? And then deciding who goes and who gets to stay. That's got to be tough. Uh Andrew says, I've been in one place but have now had 5 management companies. This place has gone downhill, gotten shabby, but I keep my place clean. I even clean the siding and the walkway outside. Really, Andrew? Oh, that's nice that you do that. Spring right around the corner. I'll be digging through my Rubbermaid containers of summer clothes. I'm going to have so much in the way of donations this year. So much, right? And, I'm not going to beat myself up. I'm just going to keep my favorite pieces that fit me. I'm not going to hold on to anything that doesn't fit me unless it's orange. Because I don't come across orange clothes often enough that I can't part with them. I'll add in extra strips of fabric on the sides if I have to, but I'm keeping my orange clothes, my orange clothes. Okay, you guys, I have pooped out today. I have had a busy, fun day, and it was exciting that we profited so well today, and especially when I bumped into a couple of people who like thrifting too, and they said, "Oh, don't even bother. There was nothing." And the next thing you know, right, we've got $1,000 worth of stuff, and I think altogether we might have spent $75 in total, right? I have that entrepreneur in me. I have it in me. Okay, you guys, I am heading to make something to eat, have something cold. I'm very, very thirsty. I'll be back tomorrow and I'm going to really take a look at this word forgiveness and how it possibly might tie into some of the lessons that I started working on this week. And one of those topics that I was working on the past couple of days is understanding the difference between pleasures and happiness. So, yeah, maybe we can tie in forgiveness in that and see how it plays against each other. But we'll see how the week goes. I'll be back tomorrow with a different perspective. Today was just a quick light one, right? First perspective. You guys, I'll be back tomorrow. I'm just reading some comments here. Um, Oh, I love courtyards in an apartment block, especially an old apartment block too. Amazing. Okay, I could stay here and listen to you guys yapping all night and joining in on the conversation, but I am going to delve into the very end of my day off. I still have a couple hours, I think, before I have to go to bed. I'm going to have my bath, pajamas, another cup of coffee, something to eat, a couple of lessons, right? And call it a day. Call it a very productive, enjoyable day. Okay, you guys, that's my good cheer. See you tomorrow.